understand that we understand that we've got a high volume of the people that are registered for the event. However, we need to mindful of the time because our guest speaker has got other commitments after this, so we don't want to keep him on standby. My name is Nambita Manwala, 2022-2023 emerging librarian. I'm wearing big shoes because I was not prepared to be an MC. I was prepared for something else forever. I will drive this ship. Please bear with me. Kindly note the house rules. Please keep mute up until I'm done with the presentation. Let me take this opportunity and welcome you in our Emerging Librarian Seminar. Greetings, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to seize this opportunity to extend my greetings and welcome you to our Emerging Librarian Seminar. Today, I would like to extend my greetings in a unique way under the African Union theme, stating that educate an African fit for 21st century, building resilience education system for increased access to inclusive lifelong quality and relevant learning in Africa, along with the slogan of Emerging Librarian, embrace technology to enhance the future leaders of LIS industry. As an educated African, embracing technology is the best weapon that the Emerging Librarian can share with you as a way of fostering social cohesion as the LIS envision us as a community of practice. Today, I'm hoping that our speaker will be educating us about ethical implications of AI, a topic that librarians still hesitant to fully embrace. I would like to ask a question to you, my fellow LIASA members, with the expectation that our guest speaker will provide us with a valuable insight. I'm concerned about our preparedness to adopt, embrace, and fully accept AI technology in our library spaces, while considering ethical issues. In those words, I would like to extend a warm greeting to you all, particularly our guest speaker, Dr. Mashilo. In those words, allow me to introduce our speaker of the day, Dr. Mashilo, who is the senior lecturer in the Department of Information Science at the University of South Africa. His research interest is diverse in so many topics, ranging from 5AR in libraries, artificial intelligence, cobotic and robotic machine in LIS, Internet of Things, cloud computing technology, big data technology, and a blockchain technology in the LIS. He also specializes in archives and record management. Dr. Mashilo presented in many themes, both internationally and national conference. Dr. Mashilo, welcome to LIASA. We are hoping and looking forward that you going to answer us, and after your presentation, we will be able to fully accept AI. The floor is all yours, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Let me try to share my screen as well. Are you able to see what I'm sharing?
Not yet.
It should be there. Still nothing?
Nothing on my side.
Anyone who can perhaps give us a different view, or there's nothing on all of us?
There's nothing yet. Can you stop sharing and share again, Doctor?
Let me share again. Am I sharing now?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can
can.
see your
Thank you very
presentation.
much. Yeah. Program Director, thank you very much for introducing me and giving me this opportunity to talk to the librarians in the country. And I definitely appreciate the invitation. Let me also thank the librarians in the country from academic institutions, from the public institutions, and the private sector and the parastatals. I'm really pleased to be here, and I'm also looking forward to a frank, robust academic interaction or debate on the state of readiness to implement AI to provide services for Society 5.0. I will focus my talk on public libraries, the public sector. But if you just remove the public and put any either special or academic, I want to believe the presentation will still make sense. And I will give more focus again on the AI ethics in the LIS sector, but I will address other factors that will assist us to assess the state of readiness of public libraries, or rather libraries in South Africa, to implement artificial intelligence to provide quality services for Society 5.0. That's what I am intending to address today, and I hope it will land properly. So the points that I'm going to talk about are reflecting on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. I'll do the introduction, I'll do the problem statement, the purpose, then policy and legislation. That's where ethics comes in. Then other factors such as the funds, resources, the skills, the technological tools, and the steps to implement AI. And I will conclude by presenting a proposed framework on how AI can be implemented, or on how we can assess our state of readiness to adopt and implement AI. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the integration of AI in public sectors, in public libraries, bring a transformative shift that can enhance the accessibility, efficiency, and relevance of these vital community institutions in providing services to Society 5.0. Hence, it might be a little bit difficult for us to adopt it and utilize it at that level. But adopting it, implementing it, represent a very transformative shift that we all have to be ready about it and embrace it so that we are able to make our services accessible promptly, so that we can make our services efficient and relevant to the society 5.0. When we talk about AI, we are talking about the use actually of intelligent technological resources. In most cases, when we talk about these technological resources, we are talking the hardware and the software part of it. But when we address issues of the hardware, that's where we talk about the intelligent machines, such as robots and cobots. But what makes these cobots and robots intelligent is what is embedded inside, which is now the software part of it. And here we talk about AI software and algorithms that provide smart services of the libraries, such as information services, the self-service circulation services, metadata services, digital marketing, among others. When we talk about the software and the algorithms, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about things like machine learning algorithm. We are talking about things like deep learning algorithm. We are talking about the natural language processing algorithm and other algorithms such as your automated classification algorithms. These algorithms are very important to make these intelligent machines intelligent, because they assist the machines to provide the services that I just talked about. That is why now when you go to other universities in the country, in their libraries, they are using robots to provide information services. And we also have the self-service the circulation services and the metadata services that nowadays AI is trending in as far as providing this cataloging services in our libraries through the use of optical character recognition and also the automated classification algorithm. Of course, digital marketing is also very important in the 5IR, where now the use of augmented reality and the visual reality has been utilized to provide this digital marketing. But now when we talk about the society 5.0, we are talking about a society that is exposed or inclined to intelligent machines and programmed to access services. But in our context, we are talking LIS services, which means this society can also be defined as smart society that is exposed to intelligent machines and programs that will enable them to access the library information services. And they also possesses the relevant skills to utilize such intelligent machines and software for such access. So that's what we talk about when we talk about Society 5.0. Now, public libraries in the era of Society 5.0, it can be any library, by the way, either the academic or the special library. In this era, we are referring to the smart public services, smart public library services that can be provided digitally, or the smart building that the smart patrons can access without the help of librarians. I'm trying to explain the smart libraries at two levels. The first level is the provision of digital services, digital library services, whereby the users can access such services remotely. It doesn't matter where you are. These are digital services sitting at home, at work, anywhere you can access such services. But again, a smart library can also refer to a smart building where the fifth industrial revolution technologies has been utilized from access to borrowing of books without anyone present in the library. So, and it doesn't matter what time you come. Even if you go 1 o'clock in the morning, you can still get a service because you don't need help from the librarians. You can just enter using your biometric systems and the self-services, the smart shelves. Then you get out with whatever information that you want to get out with without anyone assisting you. So such smart public libraries can be used around the clock. That's what I just indicated, that the services are provided for 24/7. And I talked about the biometric technology that you can use to access the smart library, the smart buildings. It could be through a fingerprint or face or eye recognition. So the smart public libraries have smart self-service machines and platforms so that patrons can be able to access these services independently. However, the state of readiness to implement the services that I'm talking about through AI will then forces us to discuss critical factors that will determine if indeed we are ready to adopt and implement these services that I'm talking about. The first thing that we need to talk about is our technological infrastructure. It's one of the factors that will guide as to whether we are ready or not. Then the second one is the issue of funding, the issue of staff training, and the disparities that we are facing. One of them is the digital divide. For the public libraries in South Africa to implement AI, they must have the technologies that I just talked about. They must have, the public must have access to smart computer technology as well. The library must afford the robotic and the robotic machines, and also the software and the programs that will be embedded there. Then we will be able to, or we can safely claim that we are ready. But when we talk about the AI embedded software or AI aided programs, we're talking about others, the visual assistants that is trending nowadays, the AI chatbots that can be utilized to provide services to our smart users. So I want to believe that we are all familiar with AI chatbots. There are chatbots that are out there in the libraries. But the other challenge is that the current ones that we have, such as the Ask the Librarian, the question is how smart is it? Because it must be AI aided to be smart. That is why nowadays we talk about embedding ChatGPT into our information services, which is a story for another day. And if we, colleagues, we are able to embed the AI and its algorithms, we can even be able to provide personalized services to our users. Like, because every time a user utilizes our digital platform, will leave a digital footprint. And through that footprint, we are able to know what are the research interests of this user. Then later on, AI can be able to categorize or cluster information related to the research interest of that particular user. And that's the power of AI. But like I said, it can be very expensive to set up a smart library or to implement AI in the libraries. It could be public, it could be academic, or even special libraries. That's where now the issue of funds comes, that government must ensure that funds are available for us to be able to implement AI, particularly in the public libraries. Otherwise, it will just become a dream. And there must be a proper training for our librarians, our public librarians, so that they will also be able to have the right skills. Hence, here I'm talking about librarians being converted to librarians. And a librarian can be defined as a smart information professionals who can, through smart information technology, provide cyber services for the library, of the library digitally to remote patrons. So anyone who is that digital savvy, anyone with digital literacy skills, AI skills, they are able to search for information online and provide this information online to patrons, and also be able to support users digitally. That can be regarded as a librarian. So training is needed for us to be able to now say we are ready to implement AI. Some of the other things that are very important is when you talk about the issues of the legislation and the policies. And that's where now we are going to talk about the ethics of AI. The problem is that we might not be ready as a country to implement AI to render LI services to Set 5.0. We might not be ready because currently librarians are not trained to use AI to manage and provide library services. And most of our librarians have no digital skills to even provide and assist the patrons digitally. So we need a training, because the issues of digital literacy, it's also a trending concept, that if you go to the public libraries, most of our librarians might not be receiving any training on such digital literacy skills. And completely, I know for a fact that we don't have AI embedded in our curriculum as well in the country. So that then questions our state of readiness. And again, libraries are not capacitated with funds to implement AI. And again, that can be a serious dilemma now if we want to adopt and implement AI. And go and check our state of internet. We therefore need high-speed internet for us to be able to operate in the digital hemisphere. Otherwise, we are not going to win this battle. Then we also lack financial support, like I indicated, that the financial support either to adopt, either to purchase or to build smart robots and cobots that will assist us in providing these services. So that is why we need a study, a comprehensive study to investigate the state of readiness, focusing on these factors that I've just alluded. And the purpose of this study then is to investigate the state of readiness in public library to use artificial intelligence for Society 5.0. And I want to recommend a framework, but there are other objectives you would see as I engage in literature, that they are also part of this. This is a developing study, ladies and gentlemen. I think very soon it will be published when the time is right. Now, let's talk the policies and the legislative framework. That is important. Part of the policies and the legislative framework that we need to come up with, because again, we don't have any policy at the moment. We don't have any legislation at the moment that guide the country on the adoption and implementation of AI. So it's a problem, because what I've seen so far, institutions are trying to come up with some guidelines on how to adopt and implement AI, but we don't have a policy at the national level or a legislation at the national level that can guide the country on how to adopt. And that's a dilemma again, because we need to have something concrete that is guiding us in as far as the implementation is concerned. But now we need data protection and privacy laws. We need to develop and enforce guidelines that will govern the collection, the storage, and the use of patron data. I know, and you know, colleagues, that we manage data, and that very personal data from our patrons. Then the issue is that how do we govern such data? How do we protect such data? And to ensure that we are in line, or we are aligned to Protection of Personal Information Act in the country, to safeguard the privacy and also to prevent unauthorized access or misuse of this personal data I'm talking about. So we need policies to address that. We need a legislation to guide us in as far as how AI can then be checked if there is protection of this information I'm talking about. And we also need the ethical guidelines for AI usage. And again, here, and that is what perpetuated the fear, the stigma to adopt AI, because people are worried about the ethics. How ethical are we using AI? And again, others will take advantage, ladies and gentlemen, to cut corners and misuse AI or over depend on AI, over rely on AI to do certain things. And when I was speaking to students, I was going to talk about how students overuse, over depend, over rely on ChatGPT for literature review, and others can just copy and paste without engaging their work. And that talks about the ethical concern of using AI. So it's a challenge. But now we need to establish ethical guidelines and principles for the responsible use of AI in laboratories. We need to address issues of transparency, issues of fairness, accountability, and bias mitigation. And we need to promote ethical AI practices that prioritize the well-being and the rights of library patrons and foster trust and uphold societal value. I just want to take 2 minutes to go around certain ethics that are very important. The first one, I talked about data privacy, where as librarians, by the way, we need to protect the personal information of our patrons. But on issues of bias and fairness, algorithms can favor a certain cluster or a certain group. AI algorithm. So what we must do there is to strike a balance to ensure that these AI algorithms are not favoring a certain group of people. So there must be fairness. We must ensure that everybody have access to this AI if we have it in our library. And it must benefit anyone. Then we will become ethically correct in as far as AI is concerned. We need to be transparent. I mentioned transparency there. Transparency in the sense that we must make or we must ensure that the patrons are made to understand how AI decisions are made, particularly those who are affected by the use of AI for information access. We need to be clear with them. How are we going to achieve that? That's where now we have to train our patrons on AI literacy so that they get to understand what AI is and how AI can assist in as far as information access is concerned. Accountability, ladies and gentlemen. We just have to ensure that there's always human supervision to ensure that AI works properly. It does what it is there to do. And you must develop clear policies on the ethical use. So those who were saying AI is there to replace us, that is not the truth. If we are prepared to utilize it, it can be the truth. It can be the truth, but nothing but the truth. So hence we talk about us upskilling. Hence we talk about us reskilling so that we become the supervisors of AI. You must stop doing this repetitive task in the library. Put a robot there to address this repetitive task. Then you focus on supervising it. So you need a skill, AI literacy skill, for you to be able to do that. So we just have to ensure this accountability by supervising AI. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, there's a difference between the fourth industrial revolution and the fifth industrial revolution. In the fourth industrial revolution, we are talking about machine doing the work. We do not care about the human factor in the fourth industrial revolution. We were only concerned about the machines doing the work. But now in the fifth industrial revolution, we are no longer talking only the machine doing the work. We are talking also the human machine collaboration, which means in order for these machines to be effective, they've got to collaborate with human intelligence. And that's where we become popular now in the five industrial revolution. Then, of course, we need to talk about the impact on employment. But now we need to come up with roles, new roles that will make us relevant in the fraternity. And of course, we need to address that issue of upskilling and reskilling. That's when now we redefine the roles or the role of a librarian or of a librarian in the fraternity. Then we need ethical guidelines, colleagues, if we want to be ethically correct. And who must come up with the guidelines in our context? IFLA must start talking about the guidelines and followed by LIASA in our context. So LIASA must come up with guidelines that will assist the libraries adopt, implement AI ethically. So it's the responsibility of IFLA, it's the responsibility of LIASA to do so. Then the last one that I will talk about there, perhaps, is the issue of accessibility and inclusivity standards. Everybody must be accommodated if we want to be ethically correct. Even people with disabilities or anyone with special needs must be accommodated. The digital literacy I talked about and the education policies I talked a bit about. Then community engagement and consultation processes. The other reason why people resist, ladies and gentlemen, is because there is no consultation or there's no clear community engagement processes that took place before people can feel at ease about the implementation of AI. So we have to engage with stakeholders. We have to engage with our staff. We have to engage with our patrons, our community members, and the policymakers through a consultation process or public forums to ensure that we gather inputs and feedback and concern regarding AI implementation in libraries. If we do that, surely we are going to make inclusive decisions. We are going to make proper decisions where we reflect the diverse needs and perspective of the entire community. Then everybody will be on board during the implementation of AI in the public library. That is very important, ladies and gentlemen. But let us look at the other factor, the funds and the resources required. We need funds, and it's not a joke. These machines can be very expensive. I normally ask a question to colleagues that, do you think it is expensive to manage smart library than to manage a traditional library? Which one is the most expensive? A library embedded with AI, a library embedded with IoT, a library embedded with big data technology, cloud computing technology, or just a traditional library full of papers and books, and which one is more expensive to manage? That's a very critical question because it also talks about our state of readiness. But now, there are sources that are required for us to be able to check our level of preparedness. Government funds and grants. It's where we can also focus. That's where public, even the academic, but remember the academic libraries, some of them might have the financial muscles to implement. But if I were to talk about public libraries now, we need to explore funding opportunities that are provided by government agencies at national level, at provincial level, or at the municipality level. We need to just explore the funding opportunities everywhere possible. Then we will talk about the state of preparedness. There must be a collaboration between the public and the private. This collaboration is very important because it can assist in providing access to funding. Not only funding, but the skills and the technological resources. So we need partnership, especially with the academic libraries, with the special libraries. There must be that partnership. Another thing that is very important, and I think we are doing well as a country, is to source the international grants and donor funding. I know there are certain funds that we have, such as the conditional grants that we have. We can now propose properly to World Bank or even UNESCO or any other NGO you know at an international level, even the current ones that are funding some of our projects. we can definitely propose to them to say, this is what we want to do as a country. We want to adopt, we want to implement AI and other emerging technologies. How can you fund us? We write a clear proposal. It can even be through the National Library of South Africa. Then if we get the fund, then that's when we can be able to see where do we start with the implementation. Because of course you need the technology grants and competitions. We can also target your organizations such as the Technology Innovation Agency or even the National Research Foundation. We can even target the likes of CSIR and just to check if they can be able to assist us. The academic partnership and research grants, let's partner with the academic institutions. Let's partner with the research organizations in the country so that they can also lend a hand in as far as the skills are concerned. So that our AI project has infrastructure and the right tools for us to be able to implement. One other important thing, but I will talk about it when I address the framework, is the issue of research and scholarship, the collaboration there. Now we can safely talk about the role of LIS schools in the country as far as the implementation and the adoption of AI is concerned. Because whatever that has been taught in the academic fraternity must then be implemented in the practice. That is there that a relationship between practice and academia? I mean, we cannot come to practice and preach this, but when you go to check the academia, there's nothing happening to ensure that there's that balance between theory and practice. The alignment is very important as a country to ensure that we align. The crowdfunding and fundraising campaigns, if it comes to a push, that can be done. Now, what are the skills that librarians need, colleagues, to assess the state of readiness up on top of the ethical concerns that I talked about, the ethics of AI? I think the theme was very clear. Hence, I took some time to unpack what the ethics is all about. But these are other factors that we cannot ignore. Like, do we have the relevant skills? And what are these skills? We need to understand the AI concept. And how do we do that? Training, workshops, and now LI schools embedding their curriculum with AI and others. Then now there will be this understanding of AI concept. We need to know what's a machine learning algorithm. We need to know what a NLP, that is the natural language processing algorithm, can, and all these other algorithms that are AI based. We need a proper understanding there. We need schooling. We need a workshop just to address that. Just to address that. Data literacy, I mean, we must now become researchers. We must be able to collect data, analyze, and interpret, and also understand the concept of privacy. We must understand the privacy considerations. When you are now data literate, when you go collect this data, there are principles, there are procedures that one must follow to be principled when collecting this particular data we're talking about. So we need literacy on that one, just to check. When I talk to masters and PhD students, they will understand me better on the concept data literacy, how to handle the collection, the analysis, and the interpretation of that data. And now even the ethical considerations of that particular process. How can we become librarians without information retrieval skills? Sometimes I know some of us, we were taught this thing at the university level, first year to third year to fourth year. But we tend to forget sometimes, especially if you are not working at that space where you engage with the users and do the information search for them. So we need time and again training to sharpen our skills, our information retrieval skills, because we need to use various sources to conduct our searches, your online databases, your digital archives, and the web. That's where basically we search for this information. And I talked enough about the ethical considerations, the issue of the privacy, bias, transparency, fairness, accountability, and transparency. I think I made justice when addressing that one. But we need ethical consideration skills to know what is fair, to be accountable, to be transparent, not to be biased. We need a skill. It takes a skill for one to know when they are doing the wrong thing. Then digital literacy skills, colleagues, cybercriminals must be able to use AI-aided digital platform to retrieve accurate information. Therefore, there is a need for a training on digital literacy. The last one that I can talk about, because there are many, project management skills. Do we have what the skills to manage projects? If we say we implement right now, do we have good project managers within the LIS fraternity who can come and implement this thing for us? So we need to sharpen our skills in as far as project management is concerned. But now, what are the technological tools as a factor that will help assess our state of preparedness? High-speed internet connectivity, a robust internet connectivity is fundamental, especially when you want to migrate your electronic records to digital records, especially when you want to embed your cloud storage facility to your current systems. Then we need high-speed internet so that we can have access to cloud-based AI services, so that we can have access, a fast and speedy access to online resources and digital collection. Then again, we need to start to educate ourselves on cloud computing technology, cloud computing platforms, cloud computing storage facilities, and the relationship between our library management system and cloud computing technology. Where do they meet? And how can cloud assist us in the LIS fraternity when embedded on our electronic record management, on our electronic library management system, rather, not a record? Then we have to also have the AI development tools and framework. We have to have access to build or to buy robots or cobots. But colleagues, you know, I was once in the University of Northwest, and I was impressed when I've learned that they are building kids robot for the library. And you know, in other universities, they went to buy than to build. But the Northwest University is building. And I will be happy to know if there are other libraries that are doing that, building than buying. Because when you build, you actually deal with, you know, I attended a presentation on Wednesday. On Wednesday, where we were talking about the black consciousness of AI. If you want to decolonize AI, we must start by building our own robots, our own cobots, so that this cobot, won't only be called in our African name, but will also speak our African indigenous languages to address the issues of the public properly. So we need to decolonize AI to that extent. But if we go by, then it will come speak. Then if we develop our own, that we then embed or we code or program it with our own languages, by our own programmers. Because there was a question that was asked on who is programming this AI for us. Then it becomes a problem again. So when we talk the coloniality of AI, it must start by building our own AI. It must start by also shifting or having a paradigm shift in as far as our perception is concerned, and starting to accept this particular AI, so that we can also start using it and populating more of our information to it, so that it can, through its algorithm, learn more about us. But the building is very important. Then we also need user interaction interface, and must be friendly, user-friendly interfaces. Is one of the things that we must talk about. It is essential for patrons to interact with AI-powered library services. And if the services are not user-friendly, it will become a problem. We can be talking about the web portals, the smart library app, the AI chatbots that we can have, that facilitates spontaneous access to library resources, and also the visual assistance and the personalized recommendation. All the interfaces must be user-friendly. These are the technologies that we need, colleagues. I think I spoke a bit on the integrated library management system that is now cloud-based and AI embedded. And this includes seamless integration because it must be integrated to our current systems. I mean, cataloging systems, circulation management, and patron authentication processes must be embedded in our library management system so that there will be that integration, so that there will be that smooth exchange of information from one system to another. And that will facilitate safe space for users to access and also assist the library to protect their own information resources when systems and gadgets are talking to each other. That's where now we talk the power of Internet of Things and the power of blockchain technology. When systems are talking to each other and are protecting to each other and protecting also the information resources within the library. But what are the steps of implementing? What's the time? I've got another engagement. What are the steps to implement artificial intelligence? The first step that I want to plead with everyone is to conduct a comprehensive assessment of the needs and the goals of the library. I normally tell colleagues not to be charmed by trends. You see me adopting AI at a certain space, and without doing your own analysis, you want to adopt AI there. What if I made my own analysis and identified that area as where I think if I put AI, it will be beneficial to? So we need not to copy and paste, colleagues. Do your own assessment. Look into your own library. Identify areas where AI can enhance services or improve access to information and promote digital literacy. Identify it and put it where it will assist you, not where you think it will, because you saw a certain library doing that. Do your own needs assessment. Do your own assessment. And after that, you can now engage with the stakeholders that are connected to a library, because implementation is a serious process. Once you miss one step, then whatever system that you are trying to embed in the library will become a white elephant. And it will be a serious problem because we are talking financial burden, we are talking financial constraints. And now if you lose money for a certain service that is not going to be beneficial, somebody must account. So engage all the stakeholders to ensure that we are all on the same platform. Then come up with a strategic planning, come up with well-defined, outlined objectives, the scope, and the timeline that you will think you will take to implement AI. Define your even performance indicators, measure the success and the impact of AI-driven initiatives. But a strategic plan is very much important. When you are done with your strategic plan, when you know the objectives and the scope and the timelines, then you can now start talking about the infrastructure and the resource allocation now. Remember, I talked about the high-speed internet. I spoke about cloud computing platforms. I talked about Internet of Things, the smart shelves, the smart
Sorry,
library app.
Doc.
Yes.
You've got 5 minutes to wrap up because of time.
Yeah, 5 minutes will be enough.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc.
Then the issue of training and capacity building is very important. Then from there you collect data, and now you can talk about the AI models development, the likes of your ChatGPT, your visual reference services, and systems that can recommend or personalize information to your users. Then you pilot it and you integrate and you develop. Then, colleagues, this is a framework that I'm proposing. I'll conclude with it. There's a need for research. Why we need to invest a lot on research, researching about these trending technologies, these emerging technologies. AI is one of them. We need to research about it. Let's put our librarians into academic higher learning institutions to study their masters, to study their PhDs, focusing on the adoption and implementation of AI. Let there be seminars, let there be workshops, let there be trainings. Papers must be written, Papers must be published internationally, national. Research is very important. And we'll also be able to come up with this ethics and the policies that we talked about when we are researchers. Then now we can look for funds. When we know what we are talking about, when we have trained everyone, we can start looking for funds. And I've alluded on the measures and the sources where we can focus when we are doing the fundraising. Then we can now start talking about the technological resources. What is it that we need? What kind of AI? Is it a robot? Is it a cobot? Or do we need a system? Do we need a program? Do we need an app? What is it that do we need a chatbot? Then from there, we must train everyone and bring everyone on board. Then we can now start talking about the implementation process. When all these 4 stages have been articulated adequately and issues related to them addressed adequately, then that's when we can start implementing. The question is, based on everything that I've said, are we really ready to implement AI? Do we have the high internet connectivity? Do we have librarians trained digitally? Or do we have librarians with AI literacy skills? What is the plan of the country around that? Do we have the technological infrastructure? What about the issue of the digital divide? What are we doing about that? But colleagues, if we take care of all these factors, and we are not far, because if you check the academic versus the public, there is still a disparity there, but it can take a little while to match the two. But with dedication, with research, I think we can be able to implement AI to provide services to our society 5.0. Hence, it is important to conduct a study of this caliber to make us aware of the situations regarding implementing AI. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you, Doc. I'm going to give Mr. Charlie Molepo, our president of LIS, to lead the question and answer for 5 minutes. Thereafter, we close the session. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Molepo. Mr. Molepo? Please unmute. We can't hear anything. If there's any question on the floor while we are waiting for Mr. Molepo.
Okay, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Madiba, for a very informative presentation. We are lucky to have academics who have this passion for the sector and the technology. And the reality is that for colleagues, I mean, one of the most important things that Dr. Modiba mentioned is reskilling. Because I can tell you now, no university can keep up with the changes. Because, and I mean, those of you who are familiar with the university environment, you know that to develop a program and get it accredited, it takes longer. By the time your program is accredited, you find that the technology has moved. So what would then needs to happen is to have sessions like this and also formal trainings that would then reskill librarians. So what I will do quickly is just to go through. I just check on the chat if there were any questions. Here I see a comment from Kabelo Khomoswane saying the patrons will also need serious training on AI concept and ethics. Yeah, the others are just compliments. I'm not sure if there's anyone who would like, I don't see any hands. Anyone with a question for Dr. Mudiba?
There is a hand from Kevin Singo.
Yes, Kevin, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you very much, and what a nice presentation. There's a few questions that I want to ask based on the ethics or in AI. Back then, when we were still doing first, if I still remember, there were characteristics of information that we know. So on AI, so I just want to be sure who is responsible to check that the information that AI gave us, understand, like ChatGPT, it's accurate, and who is verifying them, or are we relying on we just have the mind of saying that information we get from AI is 100% correct? Because I was trying to check to check the article who relate more on how accurate it is, this information that we get. I found none. So with what I thought maybe there's no, and if you can check currently, most students or most people are using ChatGPT to write their assignment, to write their research, which we have to ask how accurate it is, the information that we get from AI. Thank you very much. I just want to understand how accurate it is. Thank you very much.
Maybe let's bundle that with a question from Denise Nicholson. I recently had a presentation about AI, and the speaker suggested that one of the first jobs that will go in the profession is cataloging. He said that in time it will be done totally by AI. This is worrying. What sort of verification, etc., would be done? Surely humans would still have to be involved. What are your views? Dr. Mudiba, let's tackle those two questions.
Yes.
Dr.
No,
Mudiba.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Maybe they can stop
Let
your
me quickly
presentation
address
and
this
then
one
allow
on
you to share your
ChatGPT.
video.
You want to see me?
Yes, please. Yes, please, Dr. Mudiba.
After talking, so you think he's a robot behind now. Can you see me?
Now we
Yeah.
can see you.
I'm not a robot. I'm not a robot. It is me.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
no,
Dr.
it's not a robot
Mudiba.
behind me. Yeah. Thank you. Can I switch it off now?
Yeah, no, if you okay, thank you.
No, it's gone. Thank
All
you.
right.
ChatGPT, is that information reliable? Is that information accurate? Whose responsibility is it to make it accurate? Look, ChatGPT, for example, I think there's even a disclaimer when we're using it that this information here, this information that you are reading or you are perusing might not be that accurate. So it becomes the user of a ChatGPT to verify the information that is provided by ChatGPT. So after getting this information, talk to this information. Let me find your voice in that information that you are getting from ChatGPT. It becomes unethical to copy everything and run with it without interrogating this information. So you must interrogate that information. And when I'm reading your assignment as a lecturer, I have to hear your voice. I mustn't hear the voice of AI, but your voice. But that's when you are able to interpret and analyze information that you have gotten from ChatGPT. Look, I mean, basically, ChatGPT must be for literature scoop to see Just like when other researchers are doing research, they start with Google. You give me anything, I throw it at Google just to check and check the angle that I can take to research that particular thing. But it doesn't end there, because we also know that Google is not reliable. You end up visiting the reliable databases to check if this information you have is accurate, and to check who else researched about the same thing and how they've researched about it. So the information on ChatGPT is not accurate, but you must apply your mind, you must interrogate it, you must interpret it and make it that relevant. That is ChatGPT. Is your responsibility as the user. But now, we as information specialists, we must take the responsibility to teach our patrons on the best usage of ChatGPT. If you are working for a public library, have some seminars there about this ChatGPT. If you're working for academic library, have some seminars there. But now you need to be trained on how to do so. So training is very important, either formalized or not formalized. Other organizations organizes your workshops, either accredited or not accredited, is the story for another day. But let us have something along that. Then on the issue of cataloging, that it will be the first one to be affected. No, it can't be affected. Remember, I talked about the supervision of AI. You must be there to supervise if AI is extracting. Remember, there are three algorithms that I might want to talk about. And the first one is just a program or an application, optical character recognition. There's a study that I'm supervising on the use of optical character recognition technology. I think we are towards the end. So I've requested colleagues who I think are specialists in cataloging to just read the study, because it's now AI embedded, where we look at the use of optical character recognition technology for cataloging, the role of this technology for cataloging. But also we are looking into the human factor. What is your role then? And your role is simple, colleagues. Supervise AI. AI needs supervision. Otherwise, there are the pros and cons of AI. And the cons can harm the institution if AI is not supervised. So our role must become a research-based role and a supervision role. So we need to know this AI, be able to supervise it, and be able to recommend more systems. The other one on cataloging is the machine learning algorithm. Because now the machine learning algorithm, AI can bit by bit perfect itself in as far as metadata is concerned, how it extracts information from either born digital books or from the print books through now this smart scanner called optical character recognition, because it's both the scanner and there's the hardware and the software of part of it. Then the last one is the natural language processing algorithm. These three algorithms play a major role, and the other one is automated classification algorithm for imaging of these particular things. They play a major role in cataloging, but supervision is very important, colleagues, and understanding of what these algorithms can do and how to supervise this algorithm can be very important, colleagues. So no one is gonna go home unless you don't upskill and you don't reskill. But then where we are working, they must make it upon themselves to ensure that we get training of this caliber. So, of course, we must take a responsibility also to recommend some of the trainings that we need and who can provide such a training, and how can we then attend such training, because that's the only opportunity for upskilling and reskilling, colleagues. I think I tried to make justice to the two questions, and I will be requested to be excused in the next maybe 4 minutes or 5 minutes, because there's another meeting that I must attend.
Yes. Thank you very much. Maybe thank you very much, Dr. Modiba. And obviously, I assume from the organizers that you will share the presentations with the colleagues, and I hope this is the beginning of one of the many. One of the other things that we'll be looking on as LIASA new structure is to see if we can develop community of practices. One of those might, whether it should be just technology widely or a specific one on AI, because in reality, that's where we are. Obviously, I wanted to engage you on your view on the development of super intelligent and generative AI. What do you think are the pros and cons? Because what would happen when these robots and cobots become more intelligent than us? But that would then mean it's already an invite by the professional body to you to say you must come also and engage on that, because looking at the future, so that as librarians and librarians we prepare ourselves for the future.
Yes,
instead of
librarians. Yes,
yeah
librarians.
so
Yeah.
that we prepare ourselves for the future, rather than to only react. Maybe I would then hand over to back to the program director to say the last word. Thank you very much for allowing me.
And maybe before you go to the program director, I see there are many questions here. I don't know how we are going to deal with this, but I see there are many questions there by
What we'll
so
do, yeah, I
yeah.
suggest, because because you have to leave, is that Apelele and the colleagues, the emerging librarians, will coordinate the questions, and then they would share with you. I know that you are a very available person. You probably respond to the questions, and then they can share it when they share with the presentation. Would that work, Nambita?
Yes, it will work. I was going to suggest that as well, that you're going to collect and forward to you, Doc. Then you answer. Then I will ask Apelele to distribute with your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Over to you, Nambita.
Thank you very much. I would like to call upon Anika to do a vote of thanks. Thank you very much, Doc. I will send you the to formalize everything with you aside. Thank you so much. Over to you, Anika,
Thank you.
because of the time we have to rush everything now.
That's perfectly fine. Hi, everyone. It's Anika from Nampala LMS. First off, I would just like to thank all of you for attending. Dr. Mashilo, thank you so much for your valuable insights into the ethics of AI in the library sector. A special thank you for LIASA for hosting the event, and of course, our emerging librarians for organizing the seminar. This presentation will be shared afterwards, as previously said, and a recording will be uploaded onto YouTube. Please see our next seminars on Monday. It's regarding navigating your career success through digital presence and transferable skills. And further, I hope that everyone has a great Friday and continue to embrace technology. Thank you.